I think it's time for some wine, don't you think?
You do?
And
That's
let's
right.
welcome Eileen Fabunin of Rhone Valley Wine. Just wonderful to have you here. And of course, Jean-Luc Ledoux from Ledoux Wines in New York City. We've missed you, sir. You've been away too long.
Well, it's a pleasure to see you again,
back.
Mary. We're starting with a beautiful rosé today. This is one of the most versatile wine in the world. They go from white, rosé, to red, from very light bodied to very full bodied. They always have those very explosive, like red berry and especially blueberry type of notes to them. This wine in particular is made from 3 different grapes: Grenache, Mourvèdre, and Syrah. And look at the color of this wine. It's so pretty.
Yes,
almost like salmon in color. Santé.
Cheers, welcome.
Cheers.
Thank you.
To Bison and Cotes du Rhone.
Yes.
And blueberries. And see, it's a very fruity, simple, easy to enjoy wine. It's something you can have with food. It's something you can have without food on a patio, doing a barbecue.
The beauty of it, though, it's not so sweet.
We're moving from a light, fruity rosé to a very classic estate from the Rhone Valley, Domaine de la Mordorée. This is from the 2008 vintage, which is a very good vintage in Rhone. This is one of the great things about Rhone wines. They're great young, they're great middle age, they're great old.
Very versatile.
Very versatile.
What a beautiful.
This smells so beautiful.
What a beautiful region of France, though. You know, the cuisine there and the wines and
the region. I mean, there are all those mountains. They call it the Dentelle de Montmirail, which is a chain of mountains that you can see from the vineyard in Côtes du Rhône. Well, I mean, the terroir is very, very important. You have this whole land which is very flat. This is the estuary of the Rhone River, and all those what they call galets roulés, which in English would translate into boulder, and they're very large, and they reflect the sun into the grapes and then make them riper.
Yeah, that's so fascinating, how the climate and the landscape affects the eventual taste of your wine.
Absolutely.
Just wonderful. So you'll be back at the tasting with 2 more wines, I understand.
Absolutely.
Wonderful.
Thank
we'll
you,
see
Tina
you
Marie.
both then. So now, to our mushroom ragu, you have added some herb. I see some rosemary in there, and looks like some fresh thyme. Is that thyme right there?
Yes, it is. A little
And
bit
some
of
salt and
thyme and
pepper.
rosemary just in there, just to flavor it. And we can always just pull that out. We don't want to chop herbs and leave them in there. And you know, a lot of this preparation, when you're going to do it for a dinner party or anything, can be done well in advance. When you're experimenting, do it on friends that'll give you an honest answer rather than actually organize a dinner party for 20 people and upset 20 of your husband or wife's business partners or whatever that you were trying to impress, you know.
Well, I think that, you know, the underlying theme in what you're saying is that don't be afraid to experiment in the kitchen. And again, that's what we're trying to do this weekend with the great cooking classes, the hands-on cooking classes that we're offering.
Exactly.
So learning from top chefs just like yourself, demystifying secrets of working in a professional kitchen.
Certainly, you know, I mean, I think there's a lot of things that you can learn and from obviously everybody. And we've got some wonderful chefs coming in this weekend. Michael Slough, good friend from Boston. Evan DeLudi, a good friend from Boston as well.
So now are you going to puree the blueberry mixture?
Exactly. We're just going to make it into a sauce. I'm adding just a touch of sugar to that.
I love how the low water content in the main wild blueberries doesn't make it too watery. The sauce, it's almost a paste.
Exactly.
It's almost a paste.
And that's what we want. We want to be able to paint the plate with a little bit of paste or paint, you know, so that we got that little sauce on there. It's very intense. I'm sure when we try it in a few minutes,
It's a very
seconds.
vibrant flavor.
Ruby, you got to be careful about splashing it around. Obviously, it will.
Well, we have to make sure we have a nice cover on our processor, right, on our blender. So the bison, really, no, you don't have any oil in that pan.
I do have a little bit of oil in there.
A little olive oil or canola oil?
Yes, it's a little mixture of canola and olive oil. Olive oil to give it a little bit of flavor.
Okay.
And then, obviously, we got it nicely searing away here. We're using the induction head.
And what's the appropriate way to cook bison? Do you cook it rare or medium rare? How
Medium
do you
rare.
cook?
Medium rare. Yeah, medium rare is very important. We're going to add a little bit of butter to that, and we're going to pop it in the oven just for a few minutes. And I would say that little piece there, we're probably only going to need 3 or 4 minutes in the oven. Actually, you know, at about 350, 380.
Okay. So we're going to...
Would you mind just holding that?
Certainly.
Since it's so large.
The solids then from the...
Yeah, we just want it a little
part?
bit smoother. We don't have to do it so smooth. But obviously, you know...
you want a perfect presentation.
That's right.
Right.
You know, we want to be able to paint nicely with it without lumps in the way. And then we're going to mix up, have some sweet potatoes over here. This is obviously a very boring bit of just squeezing stuff through a sieve. And we're going to mix in a little bit of flour, salt and pepper with that, and a couple of spoons of blueberries so that we make a little fritter for that.
A little fritter. Okay.
Would you like to start doing that?
I would love to. So now you the flour. You want the flour inside the sweet
Just
potatoes?
start with just 2 spoonfuls from there.
Okay. So just work it in and make like a fritter dough. I suppose.
Exactly, yes, that's what we're making.
Is this enough flour, chef, or would you like some more?
I think that's great. Do you want to put in a couple of spoons of the
Blueberries?
blueberries now
Sure.
and mash them in there? You know, like fork mash them in. I know we don't have a
Okay.
fork,
So
so
it's
that's
okay not to keep them whole?
Oh, it's okay. We want a little bit of color in there. We want that nice dark blue and that flavor that we want in there.
Yes.
And obviously, if you want to intensify the flavor on the blueberries, you can dry them a little bit also.
This is a very unique combination: blueberries and sweet potatoes.
And you can see that color's nicely
Yes.
coming on now. We can just mix it a little bit, but we don't want to over mix it, you know, because obviously we're
We want to keep some of the
mixing
blueberries intact. right?
Exactly, but we're mixing the gluten there in the flour and making it stretchy.
Okay. Okay.
And there, I think we've got a beautiful little
Nice
mix.
mixture. So we're looking for this kind of consistency then, almost like a gnocchi consistency.
Exactly. And I think that's good for right now. We just need to let it rest.
Hello, Jean-Luc and Eileen.
Hello.
Wonderful, and I see that we have 2 additional Cote de Rhone wines that we'll be enjoying with this dish.
Absolutely.
They're wines from the southern Rhone Valley. Of course, we're in the southeast of France. A Cote de Rhone and a Cote de Rhone village, Sinargues. Our James Beard Award winner at sommelier Jean-Luc Ludieu will talk about the wines that we have.
Yes, that's right. You're a James Beard Award winner. That's important to note, Jean-Luc.
Thank you. Well, we have 2 great wines from 2 great vintages right now. We have a Côte du Rhone from Delas, from the famous 2007 vintage, which is one of the most important vintage in the Rhone Valley in many, many years. It's considered one of the greatest. And this is, I think, a match made in heaven. You get everything in here as far as flavors and aromas you get in Côte du Rhone. You get the gaminess of the Bison. Plus, you get also those aromas almost of garrigue, you know, those wild herb type of flavors you get in this wine. I think this is really a very, very nice glass of wine with this dish.
It's
gonna
lovely.
Be
We
perfect.
should try some
And
food with
let's
it. I should have
try
cooked more.
some. We can never have enough of your food, chef.
It's important.
Everyone, taste, please. Please,
Thank
enjoy.
you.
This is marvelous. And your description was exactly spot on. A texture similar to venison, but not nearly as gamey. So it's really mild, but with a real velvety texture. The intensity of the wild blueberries just is a beautiful sweetness in your mouth. I just love it. So why don't you tell us a little bit about this next one, maybe Eileen? You want to?
Cote de Rhone village, Sinargues. The grape varietals here, again, Syrah and Grenache. Syrah usually comes from the north, but it's also grown in the south. And speaking of blueberries, really the Syrah brings out those blueberry notes, some violet, hint of spice.
This is the oldest wine region in France. When the Romans came in France through the Mediterranean Sea, the first place they hit was Marseille, and then they went up the Rhone River, and they planted all those vineyards in ancient times. So those are very ancient grape varieties.
Marvelous.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Experience the pleasure of Cote de Rhone wines. Imported from southeastern France, these wines offer diversity and value. Most of the production is red, but whites and rosés will delight your palate as well. Heralded for their fruity, spicy, food-friendly flavors, Cote de Rhone wines are a perfect match for your everyday meals or for any special occasion. You can always celebrate with Cote de Rhone wines. Highly and consistently rated by the press and pursued by wine lovers, Cote de Rhone wines are available at retailers, wine bars, and fine restaurants nationwide.